Hey there, YouTube. It's Aisha, and having done the favorite movies yesterday and talking about what I like to watch during the holidays, I thought I'd talk about my favorite books to read during the holidays. I think I've talked about some of these before, but I thought I would do a formal video and share them all with you. So some of my favorite, I'm going to do favorite fiction and nonfiction. My favorite nonfiction books to read during the holidays is The Celtic Spirit by Caitlin Matthews. Oh my gosh, I love it. As you can see, I have some stickers, and I've had this book for many years, and I have several bookmarks in here because I mark off certain sections. So it starts off in October and then goes to the season of Yule in December, and I absolutely love this book. Each day is a different, it's like an almanac. Each day is a different thought and a different process. I swear to you, I've had this book for over 7 years, and it feels like, and I've taken very good care of it, there's only one little piece. It feels like each time I go in, even though I've read these many times, each time I go in and read it and think about what it talks about, something else comes up, something else gets worked through, some other thought process happens. I'll read you the one for today, December 15th. So today's talk, it talks about pride. A proud man's arrows swiftly bring pain. And it's a quote. I'm not even going to try to say where that's from. It's a Celtic quote. And then it gives you the discussion on pride. And then the question is, how does pride manifest itself in your life? Meditate upon ways in which it can be checked. So, like, generally what happens is, in the middle, it'll be a story. Like, the beginning will be a story of how, say, pride works wrong. Or January 9th is the kindness of kindred. And then it's just every day. It's not a, say, Tuesday, February 2nd. It's just February 2nd. And then it goes into a quote, an explanation of the quote, an idea, and a wonderful working. The Celtic Spirit, it starts off in October. It actually starts off in November, right? Hold on. You think I'd remember. It starts off in November. It starts off on All Saints Day, and it goes to Samhain, which is October 31st, and then you start it again. So and I have highlighted it. You go through this book, and it's such one of my favorites. It's absolutely one of my favorites. I reread this every year. I have a video from years ago I talk about what are the books I read during worship. This is one of them. Another book that I like to read, I really stick to this one during the summer because it's more, for me, it feels more of an adventure book. This is called The Living Earth Devotional, and it's by Clea Dannon, and it came out in 2013, and I got this at BEA, and I have used it ever since. It is 365 reading practices for sacred connection. So let's read, and it's also broken down the same way the Celtic Devotional is broken down, where it's broken down per season. So let's see, December 15th. Let's read that one and tell you what that one says. Go outside, sit, listen. Often we spend too much time indoors this time of year, surrounded by holiday lights and incessant holiday tunes. You don't hear them. I turned them off to record this, but I love Christmas and Yule-themed music. Oh my gosh. While these traditions can be cozy, they can also overwhelm the nervous system. Sit in the stillness of the coming winter. Journal about what you see, hear, smell, and feel while simply sitting outside. This is a wonderful idea book, and it changes throughout the season. It acknowledges the fact that, seasonal differences will happen, but these two devotionals are some of my favorite nonfiction devotionals to read during the holiday. Two more nonfictional books, and this one, as you can see, is absolutely every page is just about every page. This book is by John Matthews, which is Caitlin Matthews' husband. You know, they're an anthropological duo that write about Celtic history and mythology, um, and sacred religious tenets. But the winter solstice talks about the history of Christmas, where it came from, the traditions, the concept of the Yule log. It talks about the stories, the songs. It talks about Christ. It talks about all the different. It talks about Santa and his origin stories, and Saint Nick, and so many good things. It talks about the drinks you can make during the holidays, the how to make a sacred Santa, how to celebrate Santa, how to do the mummers dance, which is something I remember when I was younger from the Caribbean. You know, baking sacred foods, how to celebrate with sun cakes, and um, celebrating the 12 days of Christmas. There's also fantastic artwork in here and historical standpoints, poems, and then it breaks down the 12 days of Christmas in here and gives you ideas, stories, and poems, and launching spots to do your own research and go further. So this one has the Overton Mummers play in there. It just fantastic. Absolutely love this one. I feel like you can never fully read this one cover to cover without having to go back and reread and reread and reread. There's always something new in here. I've used it to find other books to read about the holidays. I'm always loving to research the history of the holidays. So this and our traditions, why we do things, why the Yule log matters, stuff like that. This is one of my absolute favorite books to look to do so. And then because I'm a huge fan of going green and recycling and trying to lower your impact on the earth, despite the fact that I have all these lights on, don't judge me. This is one of my all-time favorite Christmas books. And I got this about 5 or 6 years ago, and I love using this. A Greener Christmas is a fantastic book for those of you that want to make Christmas a little simpler and a lot more organic and a lot more greener. And a lot more greener. That's incorrect. That is incorrect. I shouldn't have said it like that. A lot greener. It's not a lot more greener. That is, wow. My mom's a linguistics professor. You'd think I'd know better. I love everything in here. I haven't tried all of the things that are in here, but I read this cover to cover when I got it. I borrowed it from the library several years ago. Read it cover to cover. Loved it. Went online, hunted it down, bought it. This is a fantastic book for the crafter, like myself, and those who want to make the holidays about more than just what are you finding under the tree. And if you're a green person, this is a fantastic one for finding good ideas for how to recycle the things that you have and make them into something worthwhile. I really, really love this. I think this is a really great one for those of us that want to be homesteaders or even stay-at-home moms who might want to make Christmas a little less commercialized. And of course, you can customize it to your own needs. Just take the ideas of the launching pad. That's certainly what I've done. So those are the 4 non-fiction books that I absolutely love to reread every Christmas and throughout the year. Because I use some of the ideas for other things as well. A really good one that I don't have a physical copy of is Yule by Dorothy Morrison. I like to read that every once in a while and pick out pieces of the book that I think has fantastic ideas and wonderful things to use, and I use them in my life. I've incorporated things from there every now and then, and I really like reading that one. I'm sure there are even more fantastic nonfiction books to read, but these are the ones that I know of, and these are the ones that I love, and these are the ones I can vouch for. I can't vouch for others that I haven't read personally. But if you have some nonfiction Christmas recommendations or Yuletide recommendations, definitely leave them down below, and I will definitely check them out. And now on to the fiction books that I love to read. I've shown this several times as one of my favorite books ever, and that's because of Maggie Shane. I really, really, really wish publishers would come out with more books like this. I really wish publishers would come out with more books like this. Anthologies that incorporate and move around one central theme. I've shown you guys different books that I've read before that are anthologies that move around one central theme. This one moves around the central theme of a candle shop and how the person in the candle shop appears to each woman in each story is dependent on their faith. The first one is Return of the Light by Maggie Shane, and this one features a woman who's a Wiccan who is in the crossroads of her life. Everything that she thought she'd worked for, everything that she thought she had, gets snatched from her, and she's starting all over again, and she can't understand or see why it's happening. And she has a moment, an understanding, a run-in with someone that makes her start to see beyond what she thought she knew and what she thought she needed. Fantastic. Second story is Starlight Starbright by Anne Stewart, and this once again revolves around the theme of this one starlight and this one light and how it evolves in this woman's life. They're all in the same town. All three stories take place in the same town, but each woman runs into a person who inspires them to understand what the holidays means to them, as well as bringing them the miracle of the holidays, whether it's love from family and friends, acceptance for their faith and belief, or actual love. So the third one is One for Each Night by Judith Arnold, and that one is a Jewish story. Starlight Starbright would be the Christian story, and Return of the Light by Maggie Shane is the pagan story, all revolving around the winter solstice, Christmas, and the 8 days of Hanukkah. Absolutely love this story. Every single time I reread these, I seem to find something new, and I just love them so, so much. The Christmas Cat by Julie Bard, Joe Beverly, Barbara Breton, and Lynn Curlin. I read this one really for Lynn Curlin. Absolutely love The Christmas Cat. And this one is The Gift of Christmas Past, and this one is part of like her Stardust of Yesterday, her time travel series, featuring a family who owns a home in Scotland. It's always Scotland that time travels, whether it's people from modern life going back in time, or people from past coming forward to the future, due to this one plot of land in Scotland. Fan-freaking-tastic. Absolutely love it. The other stories in here are also really good. They're all based on Christmas, and they're all well-written stories. Some of them are historical, some of them are not historical, but they all feature, of course, the Christmas cat. Whether it's a porcelain cat, a real cat, or the concept idea of a cat. I really enjoy this. This one is really fun, and I enjoyed that one. Another of my favorites is by Kimberly Ray and Lori Copeland. And Lori Copeland, Fruitcakes and Other Leftovers, and Kimberly Ray's Christmas Texas Style. This is another concept that they used to do. I used to be a huge fan of these. I used to be a subscriber to Harlequin when they did their book box every month. So I used to get a ton of these all the time. Never seemed to catch up. There was always so many more books than I could read. And I have a ton of these books still. But this one is Fruitcakes and Other Leftovers. And this is such a fantastic story. Because one, the female character is a plus-size woman. And a successful woman at that. And the second one was a character that you would never consider. He's a rodeo cowboy. No one ever thinks about what happens to rodeo cowboys when they get older and can't be a rodeo cowboy anymore. So this is a really good story set. But my favorite, of course, is Fruitcakes and Other Leftovers. It's such a good, cute story. And some new ones that I've added to my collection are Brenda Jackson romances. I always read Brenda Jackson romances, but this one's One Winter's Night. I recently read this one and fell in love with it. This is a Westmoreland series book, and this is a tale of one of the brothers that refused to fall in love. He saw what happened when someone falls in love and it's not reciprocated, and he's just going to save his heart. And what happens when he meets someone that's on the same level as him, who's like, yeah, I don't want to fall in love either. And what happens when these two fools get together during the holiday season? Miracles always happen, and I love it. An Enchanted Season by Maggie Shane, Erin McCarthy, Nalini Singh, and Jean Johnson. I love this one. This was also another recent read, but for me, I got this last holiday during the Yule season. I got this from, I think it was in my last book outlet boxing of 2015. So I got it as a holiday book, and I couldn't read it till the holidays. So I'm really excited. I really enjoyed this one. I have a review coming for it, but this is going to be a favorite reread of mine, especially the Jean Johnson story and the Maggie Shane story. Nalini Singh's story, I'm going to be enjoying her world. I've ordered the rest of the books in her series. The Side Changeling series, freaking fantastic. And The Magical Christmas Cat, once again, featuring Laura Leigh, Erin McCarthy, Nalini Singh, and Linda Winstead Jones. Absolutely love this one. Also another recent read for me. Another one that I bought last year and had to wait till this year to read, and I'm loving it. I read it already, loved it. We'll have a review up. Just amazing. The Breed series by Laura Leigh, Nalini Singh's Side Changeling series. The story, Erin McCarthy's Murphy Sisters, fantastic in this one. And Linda Winstead Jones, hers is not a series book, but just a great novella. Absolutely enjoyed it. And those are just a few of the books that I read throughout the holiday season. I sometimes pick up other ones by favorite authors, like Heather Graham. Sometimes they're creepy, sometimes they're good. I've read a few Anne Perry Christmas books. And of course, The Polar Express, a must-read during the holiday seasons. I can't explain to you how amazing. Reading it and watching it, as you can see, I got this little brand spanking new, and I'm like, who gives this away? Who gives this away? But thank you for doing so, because I got it. I absolutely love this, and I think this is a fantastic Christmas story. If there are any Christmas recommendations that you have, nonfiction as well as fiction, leave it in the comments down below, and I'll check it out. And we can compare stories and talk about this another time. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.